Travis Wayne Goodsell. So, I'm hoping that this is the countdown to my retirement. The prophecies of all scriptures are winding up. Yesterday was the last sign in heaven for the latter days, on the last day of the civil calendar for the Jews. Today is Rosh Hashanah, the new year, the blowing of the trumpet of the Christ, who is blowing the trumpet between the horns of Taurus. It's time for the transfer of authority to Emmanuel. And so this is all Jewish. And how dare any Christian claim it as theirs? Constantine is an abomination, and likewise Brigham Young, for turning Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon Christian. It's real simple for anyone literate to figure this out. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the great and abominable church. That's why I've been doing my videos all these years. 8K plus. I have already explained everything. And so if I don't explain everything in one video, Mormons complain. I don't understand. And if I do explain in one video, why don't you get to the point? Evil people will never be satisfied. So, church news. Hopefully the second to last. As tomorrow I'm expecting nothing. Today and tomorrow they're in makeup, covering up and hiding their true identity. Wolves in wolves' clothing, pretending to be sheep. And Mormons believe the wolves. Oh, you're sheep? Oh, that's what a sheep is. General Conference this weekend. And so it's all set up on their website, ready to be uploaded. And then Hurricane Helen. Yeah, that was prophesied, and the days and hours revealed of the coming utter destruction of Helen. And I tried to compare that with the scriptures of the prophecies and revelations of the Jews and the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith, so that you would understand how it works. And still Mormons lie and deny. The prophecies aren't kidding when Mormons are past feeling. And they claim it's their feelings that they think is true that has put them past feeling. How abominable for this church to indoctrinate and brainwash the Mormons as they have done. And if you've left the church, you still have some indoctrinating to purge from your brain. Don't think you're in the clear just because you were one of the many who left. So, no. Mormons in the area help those in the area. And they put on their yellow shirts. That's it. That's all. The church may send the token 2 truckloads. They can't handle a natural disaster. A token is all they can do. And as long as there aren't back-to-back natural disasters, the church can handle one per 10 years. 2 truckloads. That's it. And so, yeah, it's way insufficient. But for those who receive it, it's a bribe, an extortion threat. Saying, oh, the church helped us with 1 meal. The church must be true. I want to check them out. That's why they do what they do, that they claim as charity. It's all to make money off of, to retain the gift that Mormons donated, that Mormons sacrificed to give to the church so that the church can take credit for it. And so, yeah, if people join the church from a charitable thing that the church is claiming to do, they have to now pay the church. Tithing. It's required. And so, I have to do this yet again. Indians in Oklahoma, because that triggered my associative memory, so I'm guessing it is Oklahoma, wanted to make a museum. They were short on funds. The church stepped in and said, hey, we'll give you millions of dollars to help with this museum. Said, thank you. Then the church threw in, hey, we'd like to have a booth. Is that okay? Sure, okay. It's for DNA, right? Oh, a family search? Not DNA, family search. Yeah, sure. And then, of course, missionaries run the booth. And the missionaries say, hey, would you like to know more about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that's involved in families being together forever in the celestial kingdom? You can be together forever with your family who are dead. And, of course, people who join have to pay back the church. There were complaints filed, and the people in charge of the museum said, here's your money back. Get out. The only ones I have ever heard of who had integrity and honor to give back the extortion money that the church gave claiming to be charity. Not the NAACP, not any other group, not any other government. The church has compromised everybody throughout the whole entire world under the guise of religious charity. And only those Indians in charge of the museum had honor and integrity. And so, yes, the church is going to figure out some way to profit from Helen. That is this church. That is why it is great and abominable. And then, if you are unfamiliar lately with all of the news scandals of psychologists, counselors, therapists, caseworkers, treatment centers, just in the state of Utah alone, all collapsing, getting busted by the law, getting locked up in prison. This is psychology. Psychology does not tell anybody the truth like real science does. A medical doctor has a Hippocratic oath to do no harm. They have to tell the truth and use science. Psychology does not use science. Anybody who uses science in the state of Utah gets fired and excommunicated. Right, Natasha Helfer? happened to be that it was after an interview with John DeLynn, who set her up and framed her. Psychology uses what's called fallacy arguments. Google search it. Dear God, Wikipedia has a whole long listing categorized of fallacy arguments. And as you go through it, you'll notice that there's a lot of them that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints uses through apologists also to defend and sustain the churches. True? Falsehoods as truth, huh? Exactly. Religion and psychology, hand by hand, lying. Psychology cannot exist unless they have clients to pay them for their lifestyle. The well need no physician. So psychologists, since being given asylum in America from Nazi Germany, have been thanking their American liberators by using the art of war tactic of divide and conquer. To have both groups using fallacy arguments to contend against the other, to destroy the other, and thus bloodbath 2024 presidential election. You choose how America is going to be cooed. Communism or fascism of Nazi Germany? You decide with your vote, which doesn't count. Real simple. The fruits of psychology, of fallacy, is corruption and criminality. Abusing those they are claiming to treat, just like the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And despite all this in the news, the church still keeps pushing the big lie, not just about Jesus, but about psychology too. 5 ways to help someone going through a mental health crisis. Challenge, they said. There's no such thing. This particular tactic is what's called a self-fulfilling prophecy that you get the victim of your bullying to self-fulfill. Psychologists are bullies. Exact same pattern match. That's why it's psychologists who know all about the criminal mind, because they're criminal. They're projecting onto other people. And so, yes, their profiling is incomplete and inaccurate, but as long as the criminal conforms and complies to it, the psychologist looks like he's true. Just like a leader of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. As long as Mormons believe it, we get power. Conned by the great and abominable church. And so, we got an exodus coming. We got the fall of the great and abominable church coming. Now, granted, I even had to do the clip from that video. That was just hilarious. Whether I put it in here or not, whether I remember to put it in here or not, that's another question. But as I said, all these years, 8K plus videos, I've demonstrated that it's all happened. And so for it not to finish, Talk about your letdowns. Yeah, no, this isn't me that's forcing this to happen like Christians are doing right now. Islam doing right now. They are purposely causing their fulfillment of their interpretation of the Jewish scriptural prophecies to make them come true. Israel is not the land of prophecy. It's the United States of America. Mormons, not the Jews. But try telling that to 4 billion people on the world today. And so they're all engaged in forcing Jesus to be true. And I had a wise man make a comment earlier today. Jesus is not coming. Didn't really make any sense. I don't know why he would say Captain Obvious stuff on my channel. On a video I'm doing explaining Jesus isn't coming. But, you know, the church makes people stupid, even if they leave the church. You gotta purge your programming and reboot with correct information. You know, what AI needs to have done to it. It's destroying the internet. It's destroying YouTube. Here it comes. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. And so, today is the blowing of the horn. Sunday. We get a pattern match to the first year of the latter days. Mormons don't know what happened on the first conference, or the October conference on Sunday in the first year. Because they didn't even know there was a first year. What? This is news to me. I never heard about this. Just get to the point, Travis. I don't understand. Hales dies. And by using science, you look for patterns. And then you develop theories. You run tests. If you don't run a test, you ain't got a theory. You can't bias your theory research with fallacy arguments. You know, like Christianity is true, therefore the Book of Mormon is literal history. You bias your research, therefore you have to force the Book of Mormon being literal history. Yeah, well, once we get the plates back, we'll prove that we're right. There are cows, we just got to keep digging up America until we find them. They're there somewhere. As cows are walking in the background. Oh, look, cows in the latter days. Amazing. The Book of Mormon is so true as Jewish prophecy. Dumbass Mormons. Dumbass exfo Nevermos, too. How'd you botch that one? Oh, right, you think it's literal history Christian, and therefore you deny it. Doubt promoters rather than faith promoters, rather than using science. And so Sunday is the death day, the fast of Gedaliah, where the assassin Benjamin Netanyahu murders the new governor of Babylon in Jerusalem. The last names are the same. And so, with its being associated with the fall of Jerusalem, the destruction of the temple on 9th Ave, we've already had 9th Ave this year. Anybody been following at least that long? to know what happened on the 9th of Av in the Jewish calendar this year? Well, maybe you needed to be reminded about what happened on 9/11 this year, because they go together. 9/11 of the Jews, 9/11 in our calendar. Two biblical prophecies together as one from 1 Kings chapter 18. Is Jesus taking a piss? Should we wait for him some more? The Jews were right. Amazing. Elijah versus the priests of Baal. And so here we come. The fast of Gedaliah. It's in the Bible. It's a prophecy. And here it is. Sunday. For conference. The fall of the great and abominable church. But we have to wait. We have to see what's going to happen. Maybe the Jewish God will just quit. After all the prophecies, after all the fulfillments, maybe he's just going to quit. Maybe he'll say, I'm going to go to the bathroom now. It's my turn to go to the bathroom. I haven't gone to the bathroom all this latter days. It's my turn now, even though he unloaded on 9th Ave. Dear God. He was holding back. It's not healthy to hold back. If you need to go, go. And so, yeah. Sunday, pay attention. Because I had a dream on 9/11 morning. And so the pattern of the deaths of the curse of Joseph Smith is also something that, seriously, after everyone from Brigham to Monson, you're just gonna quit? So, pay attention, Mormons. It's all fun and games until you learn the church isn't true. And then you have been shamed and humiliated for being on the wrong side of religion. And so these are things that are not forced by man. This is the Jewish God of prophecy and revelation, days and hours. This is not self-fulfilling prophecies of Christianity. That's why this is so incredible. And so then on the 12th, Saturday, the Jewish Sabbath of Babylon, their captors, is the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, Judgment Day, Mormons. And so after Judgment Day, if Mormons refuse to repent, you get cut off, as Joseph in the Book of Mormon says. But Joseph says precisely as it stands in our New Testament, which is utter destruction, which is also what the Book of Mormon says. And you do not get to go to Zion in an Exodus, because that's next. The Feast of Tabernacles, the second Exodus pattern. Passover with Elijah, Tabernacles with angels. Did the videos already. Haven't been that long ago. Should be able to find them scrolling down on my homepage. Why are you using your cell phone? It's harder on your cell phone. They're trying to control you like they do in China on your cell phone. Don't fall for it. I mean, yeah, their businesses forcing you to use your cell phone. But it's a trap. Especially the iPhones now that are using AI. It's a trap. They're wanting to hold you in bondage, just like they do to the Chinese people. And so the Exodus precedes the day that shall burn as an oven. And because they that come shall burn you, they are self-fulfilling it. The enemy. Judas' price has already been paid with your tithing money to burn you. And those of you who are apostate, anti-Mormon, anti-Christ, Korah whores like myself, we are collateral damage to the church. Destruction is coming this election year because Oaks got leaked by a little sister missionary as he confessed that 2020 was just a test run for 2024. So here we go. Bloodbath 2024. Communism or fascism? Book of Mormon says no more federal government. And so yeah, if they can't have fascism, they're going to destroy America with a bloodbath. If you've never heard a MAGA talk about it, they're saying, if Trump loses, we will have a civil war. They don't care that Trump is purposely tanking his election, purposely riling up the crowds, purposely making people question whether he's sane or not. It's all a trick. He's done it 2 times before. Why would he change now? And Oaks says, we told him to do it. We're in charge of it. It was just a test in 2020. And so thus, this is it, Mormons. If the Jewish God quits, we're all doomed. And so this video, we're going over the Exodus. Section 119 is Brigham Young's forged document, which is a violation of Joseph Smith's economy and the economy required in the Book of Mormon. No monetary system of economy. Bishop storehouses. I again did that video for you yesterday, wasn't it? The church did not obey the scriptures for the storehouses of Zion. Every single ward in this church was required to have a bishop's storehouse. And thus, the church could handle a national disaster repeatedly over and over again. But nope. They do not care for the welfare of Zion. They are hoarding money by the trillions for Armageddon, for the destruction of governments worldwide. And so, Brigham Young set it up, published it in his Doctrine and Covenants in 1844, blamed Joseph for it. And so now, all of a sudden, Mormons have to pay to enter the temple and get sealed. So now it's prostitution for sealings. But also it's for the fleeing of the country. Verily I say unto you, it shall come to pass that all those who gather unto the land of Zion, which he called Salt Lake Temple Square, that was Zion. Brigham Young was called the Jewish Christ, the man like Moses, the Mormon Moses. He knew, and yet he still lied to you about it, and you believed him. Shall be tithed of their surplus properties. He had already been stealing it from Danites since 1842. Nelson rushed before Thanksgiving to release the ledger of Brigham Young, of all the Danites. Did the 6-hour video in the red shirt. While you were having turkey and all the fixins, I was here alone, probably having hot dog burritos by that point. Spending hours working on those video series for you. And so after the assassination of Joseph Smith by Brigham Young, paying the Judas price with the tithing money of the Danites, then the rest of the Mormons now were to pay Brigham Young. And so yeah, lots of people said no. They went and formed their own churches, or they went their own way, wanting nothing to do with Brigham Young. Nobody followed section 107 verse 22 to succeed Joseph Smith properly. There was no priesthood meeting vote for the successors. There's supposed to be 3 presidents, not 1. If you're going to be illiterate, you're letting Brigham Young get away with his crimes and frauds and scams and crimes. And so, yes, this is what Brigham Young demands. You must be tithed, according to section 119, or you will not go to Zion. But yet he didn't publish Joseph Smith's letter to W.W. Phelps until his final year before he died. Guess he forgot that he was the man like Moses because of Joseph's wickedness for getting assassinated. So he put it in the year before he died. Thus the one mighty and strong, section 85. It talks about the latter days of those who are found in the book of the law, who get their inheritance in Zion. And so section 64 quotes Malachi, that you have to be tithed in order to go to Zion, to be in Zion. Thus the bishop's storehouses. You have to provide the storehouses with supplies, and then you receive what you need and what you want. That's it. No monetary system of economy. We all have needs, we all have wants. We get what we need, we get what we want. To rehash the video I did yesterday or the day before, whenever it was I did it. And all you have to do is help fill the storehouses. You're just one person, so obviously the more people, the more prosperous we become. This is the beauty of Zion, is that the people are Zion, not Brigham Young's organization, not the leaders, not the buildings. You, Mormons, are Zion. We can't have Zion without you, and you don't want it. You don't believe. You're waiting for Jesus to finally show. And so, there's prophecies galore about gathering, because that's the keys of the Christ of the Jews, the Exodus keys, that Joseph Smith says in 107 verse 91 is to be the head of the church, to be the Christ, to have the keys of Exodus. And so Joseph Smith tells the saints, hey, gather to Zion, because Zion is the Mormons, the headquarters. It's not the latter-day Zion. It was the starting up of the church. That's his role as the forerunner Christ, to set up the religion, set up the rituals, and then get murdered by the enemy, to have it all taken away and changed into Christianity, so that the latter-day Christ comes and restores it all. Joseph erects, Brigham Young insurrects, I resurrect. And so there's all sorts of stuff on how this is to be done. And it's the same pattern as the economy with the Exodus, that the bishops and the stake presidents already around the world will be in charge of their flock with my call for you to come to Zion. Now, granted, the Jewish God may say, I quit. We're all doomed. What do you mean you quit? You were doing so well. You said you were going to fulfill all of it. You're not going to quit at the end. What are you doing? And so, yes, this is how it will be done. Once the church collapses, and however it is that I then get put in charge, because I'm just living in my apartment all by myself, I really don't see how it's going to happen. The Jewish God may quit. And so I would then put out the call. Obviously, those in Utah. Now, if the fall of the church is accompanied with the great earthquake that causes a huge pit into hell there at Temple Square, there's going to be some rescue operations needed first. So it's unclear as to what's going to happen Sunday, assuming that all will be according to prophecy. That's not how you whistle for a dog. And so, if there are deaths, notice that the funerals will be held on Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. Because in the state of Utah, you have to take 3 days for the coroner to make sure that there was no crime involved in the deaths. And then after the 3 days, then funeral preparations are made. And so that takes another couple of days, few days, depending on where it is and when you want it to be held. And typically the weekend, because it would be the president of the church and who knows how many other apostles. Because for Irene to be the one in my dream means that at least Nelson, Oakes, and Holland go bye-bye. But if this is the fall of the church, 9 have to go bye-bye, so that they cannot do anything anymore. They cannot form a quorum to appoint the new successor according to Brigham Young's changes. And they can't conduct business, therefore, to appoint new apostles, so that they can appoint the new president. Church is ruined if 9 go bye-bye. And notice that they use apostles in the first presidency, so that when the president of the church dies, the other counselors fall back in line in the 12, which is 14. Yep, they're well aware of the prophecies, and they're trying to hedge their bets to prevent it from happening. But like I said, Jewish God's going to quit. All this for nothing, Nelson. Jewish God quit. I would just collapse. All that I've been through this whole time, just for him to quit. Bleep you! And so yes, it would be the individual stakes and wards that would set up their Battlestar Galactica caravans. Once the call goes, you don't go on your own. You must go when called. And so yes, Mormons are going to have to figure out it's me. It's going to need to be blatantly obvious. And so I have no clue how that's going to happen. But. So notice how it's different than Brigham Young. See, we've got section 136 by Brigham Young, who says that you're supposed to be gathered in groups of 10, 50, and 100, isn't it? Let's go to it. Let companies be organized with captains of hundreds, captains of 50s, captains of 10s, with a president and his 2 counselors at their head, under the direction of the 12 apostles. The word and will of the Lord, huh? How did that happen? Who gave you authority to lead the church? Exactly. That did not happen, per se. The Vanguard Company was the first group because they were the ones that stole the money from other Danites, and then after Joseph was assassinated, from gullible Mormons who believed the missionaries who told them, hey, we're a Christian church, Joseph is Christian, and the Book of Mormon is another testament of Jesus Christ, with the name of the church being the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Oh, okay. I'm illiterate, so I just signed my name with an X, because that was very common back then, in case you didn't know. And so yes, only those who knew the church to be Christian because of the Danites, who were the missionaries that converted them, went with Brigham. The rest said, hell no, Brigham ain't true. But they couldn't argue to his face because he had the Danite army with him. Might makes right. Join or die. And so no, this won't work for an exodus back to Zion. to avoid World War III, not just the Civil War in America. And so Brigham Young's errors will be turned into our strengths. And so, yes, even the Osirian cult religion that was in the land of Canaan had paths, roads made by walking. And then the Roman Empire came and they paved the roads that the Osirian religious group had used. And so these were the roads, the road to Emmaus, for example. After Jesus' second coming, 2,000 years before his second coming, where he's going to kidnap people and then murder the rest. Jesus! Fear me! The rapture. It didn't happen yesterday. Unless there were kidnappings that happened and people are claiming that was the rapture. Oh, little Billy didn't come home from school today. He must have been raptured. No need to call the police, dear. Little Billy's now with Jesus. He's not being sex trafficked. Why are you Christian? See, Mormons don't believe in a rapture. We just believe in the murder part. And it's going to be nuclear. Oh, dear God. So, yes. Bishops will be in charge. And it won't be forcing people to go to Zion. Because like I already gone over with you, as the scriptures tell you, only the pure in heart go to Zion. No Danites allowed. So yes, all of us who have pioneer ancestry have Danite ancestry in us. But repent. Put off the Danite natural man. And you can come into Zion. And so, yeah, not all Mormons are going to want to go. There are Mormons who are wanting to be left behind on purpose. Left behind. Hilarious. I didn't get kidnapped by Jesus. I was left behind for the burning. Rapture Palooza didn't even think about that one. You killed my son! Zap. So, yeah. That's what we're waiting for. 17th of October is the 15th in the Jewish calendar. Passover is on the 15th. Tabernacles is on the 15th. 15 times 2 from my 9/11 dream. And set apart by Irene. Don't need to, I already have the keys of authority. But if you've heard about my dreams that I've repeated recently, and have used the picture for you to remind you, they've already given me their keys. They've already done what Joseph Fielding Smith Sr. said was going to happen. We're just waiting for the physical part of it now. The spiritual dream vision part of it has happened. Hinckley, Monson, and now Irene have given me this church. Even though I have the keys of Moses, from Joseph through Hiram. And I definitely have the gifts. Dear God, how can you not see that? 8,000 video evidences that my #1 video, still to this day, because YouTube had to shut me down because the church ordered and paid them to do so, 40,000 views, got to witness I am a prophet and a revelator, as well as a seer and a translator. I have the gifts. You can judge me by my gifts. Nelson? They don't claim the gifts. They just claim the titles. They don't even claim the title of translator. And yet you got fooled? What does that make you when you are a victim of somebody who conned you? Because you refused to simply run the test. So, that's it. It'll be the biggest event, assuming that God doesn't quit. And it's already organized. We just have to have it happen to physically be put to work, to be implemented. And so, I check the virus stats every week. Coronavirus? Oh my God. This is why I also don't like phones, because when you try to scroll, it clicks on what you're trying to scroll away from. coronavirus.utah.gov/case-counts/. And so 70, which is lower, got hospitalized, but 11 deaths. And checking the stats, I had to scroll up on my Excel program to learn that it hadn't been that high since January. 11 more people dead. Let me give you the full total stats that I've been counting up. And remember, Oaks confessed that that was just part of the test run. They intentionally murdered you, your loved ones, your neighbors, your fellow Mormons. 48,041. Gone in the state of Utah since 2020 and Oaks' test run. How is the church true again? So I guess we should finish off again with Jeremiah. Even though I covered it, but didn't quote from it. Chapter 23, and it's, I think, in 30 also. But this is the full one. So you see that it's David Moses is the full title, which is your clue that it's the 18th dynasty of Egypt, whom David Moses III had Armageddon won with the Hittites, and took a vacation in the midst of the war to go to the top of the mountain, to the Salem hamlet. We're not sure what he did there according to the historical documents, but there's some stories in Scripture of the Jews that talks about something that they're calling prophecy and revelation of the latter days instead. Interesting, because after David Moses III's visit, they would then go on to build a temple, and a palace, and a throne on Salem. And so the first king of Salem is the king of Salem. Salem, king, N, prefix or suffix determinative. Solomon, kingdom of Salem, king of Salem. Solomon. Again, demonstrating the gifts of translator. Because nobody else has told you this, have they? Definitely AI won't tell you. And so, no more will people be talking about the prophecy of the Exodus of Moses, despite the movies. Instead, they're going to be talking about the man like Moses who will gather the Mormons from the four quarters of the earth, who appeared to Joseph in his vision in Kirtland on the third day of Passover with the God Yah. They're all the same person. It's a vision. And Mormons think they're all separate individuals because they call it literal history. Dumbasses.